So I don't know if this is going to work, but I've I think, just connected Claude up to Power BI desktop, and I'm told that that will mean that Claude is able to see the model that is behind my work that I'm doing in Power BI, and it should be able to optimize it. And look, this is live. I set this up seconds ago, so I'm going to test it, and I'm going to see if it can understand what's happening. Okay, allow. It can see my model. Okay, so what can I do? Now you can ask me to perform various operations on this model, such as creating or modifying measures, analysing the data structure, running DAX queries, making changes to the options. What would you like me to do with this? Right, let's try something. I'll pop this out so you can see what's going on. I'm just going to say optimize my model. Why wouldn't I? Optimize my model. And it has done exactly what I asked. So I said optimize the model. It said, right, let me understand the size of it. Let me understand the DAX. Let me understand how it all links together. It found issues with the way that I'd created my model. And it said, what do you want me to do? And I said, fix it all. So it went through, it deleted measures, it optimized tables, it made me essentially a better model than the one that I had before. Now, there was a bit of a problem with that, because when it was working through, and it was so some of the dimensions that I'd created, it didn't like. Some of the measures, it didn't like. So it recreated them. That meant that my report then, that was pulling off old measures that I'd created, didn't work. But all I did is pulled the new measures in that it had created, and actually it had simplified it. So, all right, it took me a couple of minutes to set back up, but it's better. So then I went a step further and said, can you create me? Honestly, it's really good. So I said, can you then create me some documentation so that I could hand this over to somebody and say, look, here is the model. Here's what all of the measures within this model do. Here's how it links up together, and look what it's created for me. It's saying these are your tables. That's how it all links up together. These are the relationships. This is what it does. And it even goes a little bit further and explains how this is working. This is essentially a marketing dashboard that I've created, and it is showing me that these are the measures that have been used. This is why you would have created these. So I've got a really well formatted model that I did in no time at all, and full documentation that I could now hand over to somebody else so that they could make use of this model as well. So today is the day that I used AI to assist with my Power BI development. Good old Claude. I doubt if I'll ever go back. Good luck. I'll just run you through the steps that I went through to install Claude so that I could use Claude with Power BI Desktop. So I could have Power BI Desktop open, I could have Claude Desktop open, and I could ask natural language questions of Claude that would change my model. And it can do things like have a look at your model and optimize it and make it faster. It can create measures. It can comment all your code. I did a thing where I asked it to optimize my model. It optimized my model. It did all the connections in between it and just made it faster, better. But then I said, please, can you document this? And it created me like a list of documentation of the steps that it had done and of the whole model, so that I would then be able to take that model, give it to somebody else, and rather than having to try and guess which elements of this that they could use in reports, it's all documented. Honestly, it's brilliant, but you need to do a few steps. So the first thing that I did was to download a couple of bits of software. I didn't have Visual Studio installed, but to do that, I just Googled Visual Studio, clicked on download, installed that on my machine. I set myself up with an account on Claude, and then it's just a free account, and then downloaded the desktop software. So that's all your kit downloaded. That's all you'll need to do there. But then you need to go and connect the two things together. So if I just pull up my Visual Studio, I'll show you what I had to do there. So on the side of Visual Studio, you've got this bit that shows your extensions. I've typed in powerbi-modeling-mcp server. And actually, this is worth having a look, because at the bottom it tells you some of this. So I typed that in, clicked install, it installed. Simple as that. But if you have a look at the stuff here that it can do, analyze naming conventions and rename, set descriptions across the model, translate your semantic model, refactor your model, make your model quicker, benchmark your DAX, document your model. That's why you would do this. But there's a bit of setting up that you're going to need to do. So after you've installed this MCP server into Visual Studio, you'll need to go into your user profile. And there's a folder in there, there will be a folder in there, called Visual Studio Code, Extensions, and then you go within that. And what you're having, and in there, there's a folder called Server. So go within that. Just looking at my notes here. Okay. And this is all you're doing here is you're just going to right click on that application and copy that file path and save it somewhere like Notepad. You'll need that in a minute. Then we'll go back into Claude. Where are you, Claude? Claude, come back to me. Here we go. And we need to do a bit of work in the settings. So in here, I'm going to click on my account and I'm going to go to settings, there we are, developer. Now and you need to edit the config file. And if you click on, so I've done that, and I can see that the connection between this Power BI, MCP, and Claude is working. Yours will be blank. But what you need to do is click Edit Config. That'll take you through to the folder where your config is saved. And then just open it in the editor of your choice. I haven't got Notepad++, but I'll do it in Notepad so you can see what's happening there. And then all we're doing is typing in this code, which I'll share with you, right? Restart your computer, and honestly, it'll just start working. But remember when you copied that file path earlier on? When I did this, after a restart, I had a couple of errors with the file path, so that's this bit. And I'd followed a tutorial to set this up that suggested that you needed to, where there was a forward slash, you needed to double that. So forward slash, right? That didn't work. I ended up going on to Copilot, pasting in the code that I'd got here and saying, this is wrong, can you help? It did help, it now works. This is awesome. The rest of this video is going to be a video of me getting very excited when I run this for the first time. But if all you want to know as to how to set this up, there you go. enjoy the time saving.